This is the end of the quadrilogy where I rank every boss in every Pikmin game. And to finish this off, I'm ranking each and every boss in Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 is the most recent installment of the Pikmin franchise, adding a brand new partner named Ochi, which changes the gameplay quite a lot. Pikmin 4 has the most amount of bosses, with a whopping total of 24 of them. That's double the amount of bosses Pikmin 2 has. Unfortunately, this game also has the weakest roster of bosses the series has to offer, since a handful of them are kinda pathetic. Thankfully, Pikmin 4 got an update, and some of the said bosses aren't as pathetic as they used to be. Due to this, I'm gonna be ranking them post-update rather than pre-update. So without further ado, customize your character, get your ID ready, and let's get into the ranking. In dead last, we have the Puffy Blowhog. Like, why? The Puffy Blowhog is barely a boss. Like, it's literally just a common enemy disguised as a boss. Like, it's so easy to take down. Like, once you freeze it in the air, it immediately dies. One purple Pikmin is enough to weigh it down. Using Ultra Spicy Spray immediately annihilates this thing. Like, there's so many ways you can destroy the Puffy Blowhog in mere seconds. I'm not joking. It's no wonder why the Puffy Blowhog is so garbage as a boss. And I'm gonna say this, it's not just the worst boss in Pikmin 4, it's the worst boss in the whole franchise. Period. You can't get any lower than this. Barely any higher is the big frog, the Masterhop. Like, that's just literally what it is. A bigger version of a yellow Wollihop. Like, seriously, nothing changed, except it's bigger. That's lame. This boss is what I would define as lame. I mean, it has the destroyable ground, but even that's done better by another boss. That kinda makes the Masterhop pointless to add to the game. So overall, this boss is pointless and lame and literally just a bigger version of a yellow Wollihop. That's why it's at number 23. Another bigger version of a pre-existing enemy. Wow, that's cool! All the stuff that I said about the Masterhop could apply to this boss as well. Except there's one main difference. The Mammoth Snootwhacker has a brand new attack that the regular Snootwhacker doesn't. The regular Snootwhacker just pushes you away by spinning its trunk. This boss can do it too. But unlike the Snootwhacker, the Mammoth Snootwhacker can crush you by whacking its trunk into the ground. It still isn't that deadly of an attack though, because you can just avoid it with ease. It's also kind of bland and easy to kill. Rush the Mammoth Snootwhacker twice, then attack it, and then rinse and repeat until it dies. So yeah, it's not that interesting. So overall, I think the Mammoth Snootwhacker is bland and terrible. That's why it's at number 22. What happened to my boy? Remember the saying, fallen from grace? Yeah, this boss is a literal definition of it. The Toxstool went from having a cool ability where it could possess your Pikmin and turn them into Puffmin, to having the same confusion effect as the Groovy Longlegs. The confusion effect worked for the Groovy Longlegs, but it did not work for this one. It just made the Toxstool harmless. I originally would have been happy that they decided to buff the Toxstool's health a lot compared to Pikmin 1, but since the thing is harmless and the Puffmin aren't in the game, it just makes the boss more tedious. I don't really have much else to say, so I'm going to conclude that without the Puffmin, the Toxstool is nothing. And that is why it is at number 21 and not any higher. Coming up next at number 20 is the boss that looks hideous as heck, the Porquillian. The Porquillian is the first ever boss you face in Pikmin 4, and I don't think it's all that great. Its attack patterns are bland and stale. It shoots spikes from all 4 corners of its body, and you have to wait it out until at least 2 or 3 corners of its body are free from spikes. That is when you start attacking it. Pretty basic, nothing special. It returns in Heroes Hideaway's Plunder Palace as a mid-boss in Sub-Level 3, but unlike its introduction and Sun-Speckled Terrace battles, you cannot rush it, since it's high up on a platform. Therefore, if you want to damage it, you have to throw Pikmin onto it instead. That's kind of a nice toss-up for the boss, but it still makes it mid nonetheless. Once you get to the Cradle of the Beast in Giant's Hearth, it gets demoted to regular enemy. So basically, other than its hideous design, the Porquillian is alright. Nothing special, but isn't offensively bad. Therefore, I place it above the actually bad bosses at number 20. Originally, this boss would have been placed lower than the Porquillian if it weren't for the fact that it got buffed in the new update. The Emperor Bulblax is a big step up from its appearance in Pikmin 2, but it's still kind of underwhelming nonetheless. Unlike in Pikmin 2, the addition of multiple Bulblaxes actually impacts the battle. It didn't really do much in Pikmin 2, they were still pathetic nonetheless. The Scream attack is much more impactful. It barely even appeared in Pikmin 2 because how easy it was to destroy them. But despite their improvements over their Pikmin 2 counterparts, with the new update helping them with more health and Ochi being nerfed, they're still not interesting or difficult to deal with. They're still underwhelming to deal with, especially with the fact that the real Emperor, which we will get to later, is in the game too. Another gripe is that the boss gets really easy once there's only one Emperor Bulblax left. All the things I said rounds up to a pretty mediocre boss. It's a big step up from Pikmin 2, but it's not big enough to land it higher than 19. Next up is a tiny bit controversial take. Some may want it higher, and others may want it lower. It's the Gildamander. Similar to the Plasmwraith, I have mixed feelings about the Gildamander. Is it cute? Yes. Is the gold gimmick fun? Yes. Is it cool that it's one of those enemies that can swallow all 100 of your Pikmin in one gulp? Yes. All of those things make it seem fun, right? Well, not 100%, because the Gildamander has some heavy flaws as well. It can kind of get tedious and repetitive at times, making it kind of unappealing to fight. It's also a really slow boss. Kind of slower than it has any right to be. Oh yeah, about that tongue attack, it's easy to dodge. I can see why some people hate this boss, but in my opinion, I'm on the fence. This boss has a fair share of good and bad qualities. So I'm gonna put it at number 18 just as a filler spot because I don't know where else to put him. He's just basically a good bad boss. Oh no, this is a weird one. The bug-eyed Crawmad. Am I glad to see you again? The bug-eyed Crawmad didn't even change one bit, except for the fact that it's slightly bigger, and taking out its eyes make it take damage. Makes it seem that it should have been placed lower on the list. Thankfully for it, its boss arenas actually give it some sort of advantage. At least in the second fight. The second fight is easily the best bug-eyed Crawmad fight, as it's fully in the water, meaning that you only have to use blue Pikmin for this. Any other Pikmin isn't a good idea. You can bring the other Pikmin in, but it's kind of risky. I kinda learned that during the gameplay footage you're seeing now. Other than its pretty good second battle, the other battles aren't really as good. They're kinda the same old, therefore suffering the same flaws as the Pikmin 3 battles, which is why the Bug-Eyed Crawmad is not any higher than 17. Therefore, the Bug-Eyed Crawmad is only carried by its second battle. Otherwise, this boss would have been lower than 17. A base. Seems to be blocked off by mushrooms, though. I guess I gotta... Giant spider ready to kill you! The baldy longlegs is basically the shaggy longlegs without the shaggy parts. Although it's the second weakest Arachnor battle, it's still not that bad. There is some stuff keeping it from going lower. Thanks to the update, it has quite a lot of health. 3,700 is actually pretty decent. Also, it has the most unexpected feeling out of all the Arachnor bosses. Other Arachnorbs fall down into the boss arena, but this one falls down into an uninhabited base, which you would definitely not expect. I also think that's a nice detail. The boss is also kind of fun, as most Arachnorbs are. With all that said, I still wouldn't consider it good. One gripe I have with the boss is its Cavern for a King battle. I think Nintendo intended us to climb the blocky platforms in order to reach its head, but you can literally just... Although quite inferior than its battle in Pikmin 3, the baldy longlegs, I think, is still alright. I wish it had a really good Cavern for a King battle, similar to the other bosses we'll get to later. It's the Puffstool's toxic brother. The Toxstool is a superior version of the Puffstool because unlike it, it can directly attack your Pikmin by spewing poison instead of pink mist. The said poison can revive nearby dead enemies, making it pretty dangerous and pretty cool. It's unique and creative, which I really like in all bosses. Other than this, there isn't really much else to talk about or stuff that's interesting, but I really love the revival gimmick. All of this makes the Toxstool a perfect pick for number 15, starting off the good boss category. The Armored Cannon Beetle's North Pole cousin, the Arctic Cannon Beetle, is up next. The Arctic Cannon Beetle is a super solid boss. It takes the concept of the Armored Cannon Beetle and gives it a new spin. Rather than needing to throw Pikmin at its blowhole, you need to get it to do its suck attack. Then, go to the back and wait for it to turn into a full-blown vacuum. Once it does, its hide is exposed. Now just give it a good old rush. There's also falling icicles whenever its projectile hits a wall. It's a bit basic, but it works. Its second battle is even better. Going up this ramp with some turns here and there while dealing with some orange bulborbs and the Arctic Cannon Beetle's snowball projectiles is super cool. No pun intended. Once you reach the top, it's the same as usual, just without the icicles. And honestly, I find the second fight phenomenal. It's pretty fun to navigate the ramp, and reaching the top is pretty satisfying. Unfortunately for it, it can get a bit tedious and boring with all the waiting for it to do its vacuum attack. And it cannot kill any of your Pikmin unless you let it. But why would you? Other than those points, I think the Arctic Cannon Beetle is a good boss. It takes the idea of the Armored Cannon Beetle and puts a brand new spin on it. Especially in its second battle, which is phenomenal. Therefore, I deem to put it at number 14. And speaking of cannon beetles, guess who's up next? That's right, it's the Armored Cannon Beetle. Well, it's not actually called the Armored Cannon Beetle though. Instead, they call it the Horned Cannon Beetle, and that's because of the two horns in front of its mouth. Oh, how different. It still functions the same though. It shoots boulders, you throw Pikmin at its blowhole, yada yada yada. Thankfully, Nintendo granted my wish of giving this guy much more health, and that's actually pretty good. It makes the horned cannon beetle much better than its predecessor from Pikmin 1. That means you don't even have to one-cycle it anymore. I also prefer the horned cannon beetle over the Arctic cannon beetle because throwing Pikmin at its blowhole is actually much more strategy than just waiting until its wings open up. And in some of the battles, you have to get it to destroy the obstacles first before actually defeating it. Whether it's making its boulders trample over some mushrooms, or making it hit its own larva. Or at least it's the strategy I use for the fights. Anyways, it's kind of a unique spin on the concept, and also kind of satisfying to watch it happen. One thing that confuses me is, other than the horns, how are they different creatures? Like, they function the same way. How hard is it not to call them the same name? Other than that confusion, I think the armored cannon beetle is a solid boss. Therefore, I'm placing him at number 13. Just missing the halfway mark.
Jiggle, jiggle, time to die.
Despite being one of the earliest battles in Pikmin 4, I think the Fulix is a really good boss. It's much more fun, unique, and challenging than the boss it was based off of. Plus, it requires some strategy. You're supposed to either A. Throw Pikmin at its tail. They will pull on the tail, removing the Fulix from its goopy shield, exposing it. Or B. Throw Ice Pikmin to freeze it, and then throw at least 2 or 3 Pikmin at it to make it burst and reveal the core. It's a pillated Snagret situation where there's multiple ways to defeat it, rather than just one. I honestly like that. Although it doesn't require as much strategy as the pillated Snagret does, it still works. So what do I think? The Fulix is amazing, even as a starter boss. Although I cannot place it higher because there are much better bosses than this, I still am gonna give it some respect for being a really good starter boss that requires strategy. Therefore I place it at number 12, starting off the top half. This is the last time we're gonna see this guy. It's the Burrowing Snagret. Before you ask, my goodness, what is the Burrowing Snagret doing this high up? And to that I say, they made the Burrowing Snagret from Pikmin 3 actually good here. Okay, maybe not in its first appearance. Although it does have some upgrades, like not being able to be one-cycled as easily, and being able to consume more Pikmin than before, it's still similar. I think it's decently better because of those upgrades kind of making it a bit more fun. So still, why is it high up? That's because of its fantastic Cavern for a King arena. They brought back the triple Snagret that made it challenging and great. And it's a lot of fun to attack one Snagret while dodging the others. It's more fun and engaging than, say, the bug-eyed Crawmad from the Mud Pit. In that battle, you can focus on one enemy without the others troubling you. Well, in this battle, while you're attacking one Snagret, the others are an active threat. I really like that little detail. Also, unlike in Forest of Hope, you have to take all 3 of them down. Although the Burrowing Snagret from Forest of Hope cannot be beat, I still believe both of them are very close. So in my opinion, if it weren't for one of the coolest rematches in Pikmin 4, I would have placed this guy much lower. But thankfully for it, it exists. Therefore, I put the Burrowing Snagret at number 11, missing out on the top 10. At number 10 is the Empress Bulblax. The Empress Bulblax is a similar case to the Burrowing Snagret, where its first battle isn't all that good, but the rematches are amazing. It's only higher than the Burrowing Snagret because it's actually more challenging to deal with. Plus, it has 2 rematches instead of 1. The first battle is kind of basic. If you played Pikmin 2, you know how she works. You throw Pikmin at her, she shakes, she rolls, she stops rolling, rinse and repeat. So basically, she's just the Empress Bulblax from the Whole of Beasts in Pikmin 2, just with higher health, which is a plus. It doesn't just end there, because its Frontier Cavern battle reappears in Cradle of the Beast in Giant's Hearth. And it's just as tough as before. The Bulborb larvae also return, and they're just as deadly as before. Thankfully, they can still be brutally murdered, either by you attacking them, or the Empress Bulblax rolling onto them. Yeah, she's an awful parent. The Cavern for a King battle is easily the best one. You're in this very enclosed space where you can't attack her on the front or the back, only the side, and in order to dodge her, you have to get on the geysers as she starts rolling towards you and your Pikmin. This is the best rematch in Pikmin 4. This looks like something straight out of a modded version of Pikmin, and that's why I love it so much. So overall, I think the Empress Bulblax is a pretty great boss. All 3 battles are above decent, and her Cavern for a King battle is amazing. I don't really mind the Empress Bulblax's return, because it's as good as it was in the second game. Therefore, she starts off the top 10 at, well, number 10. At number 9, we have the final enemy to have the memorable drumline cadence, the Crusted Rumpup. The Crusted Rumpup is surprisingly fun to battle with. It has a unique way of taking it down, with you having to weigh down its tail to reveal the weak spot. You have to either use 15 of the rest of the Pikmin or just 2 purple Pikmin. Be careful, because it can turn around very quickly and charge at you, making your Pikmin lose balance. With the charge attack, it can also eat Pikmin, so you gotta be aware of that as well. The battle in Cavern for a King is literally just the same thing. Nothing changes except for the arena. It's a bit underwhelming, but I guess it works. So I guess I'm gonna count it as the same as the first battle. Still pretty great. Although the first and second battle are very similar to each other, I still believe that the Crusted Rumpup is still a great boss nonetheless. Its super cool and unique way of defeating it lands it at number 9. And done. Wait, why do I feel something cold even though I just lit that fire? Allow me to introduce myself. I am the evil Snowmoth of Evil. The Snowfake Fluttertail is a very underrated boss, and I'm surprised not enough people like it. Like the segmented Cropster from Pikmin 2, I kinda wish I could fight this guy again, since one fight isn't enough for a boss with a super cool gimmick. One of the red Pikmin has to carry a fire pine cone. You have to fire off that red Pikmin at the fire pine cone, then use that pine cone carrying Pikmin to your advantage to destroy that ice cocoon protecting the Fluttertail. This puts a specific Pikmin in the spotlight, that being the red, and I kind of like that. I even love how they upped the ante a bit midway through the battle. Instead of 1 layer of the cocoon, the Snowfake Fluttertail now has 2. You're gonna need 2 of those fire pine cones. This makes the Snowfake Fluttertail feel like something you'd see in Pikmin 3. And that's a compliment. I also like how satisfying it is to destroy the cocoon, I love it. Unfortunately for it, I think it not having a rematch is wasted potential. They could have done something creative in Cavern for a King where the fire starter was in the center of the arena. But alas, this does not harm the placement of the Snowfake Fluttertail. And I still believe the Snowfake Fluttertail is a very unique and cool boss. Therefore, I shall place it at number 8. Well, say hello to the average Pikmin fan's childhood trauma, cause the Waterwraith has returned. Although I wouldn't really expect the Waterwraith to return, I'm still kind of happy it did anyways. Even if it's not as hard as it once was in Pikmin 2 due to Ochi, the Waterwraith is still a fun experience in my opinion. Other than the difficulty, everything else about the submerged castle returned in this cave. The Waterwraith will still relentlessly hunt you down if you haven't collected all the treasures. And, even if not as prominent, the eerie vibes have returned as well. It helps with the cave's music changing from normal to the submerged castle music we all know and are afraid of. They even brought back the invincibility until sub-level 5 thing. That moment of revenge has returned. And you can still absolutely mutilate the Waterwraith with purple Pikmin, giving it a taste of its own medicine. They even made this guy more challenging in Kevin for a King, where there's 2 Waterwraiths instead of just 1, making it all the more horrifying and fun. Although not as good as it was in Pikmin 2, I still believe the Waterwraith is a very good boss, and I'm still very happy that it returned. Just maybe bar off Ochi until sub-level 5 and make the Waterwraith much faster. I would put it at the top 5 at least. The Smokey Progg is another unexpected return, and holy crap, they made this guy more terrifying than Pikmin 1. The Smokey Progg is no longer optional, so you're gonna have to deal with a lot of Pikmin deaths, especially in the night mode, where the Smokey Progg is an absolute beast. It's much tankier and now has a more piercing scream attack. And since it has a mouth, it has a brand new attack. It can spew out a gloom ring, which could wipe out all of your Pikmin easily. Pair that with another tanky enemy, and it is formidable. In Kevin for a King, it's a halfway boss, and feels like a grand gateway to the final boss, which we will get to later. The only gripe I have with it is it appears way too much, making it less and less intimidating. But it's already hard enough, unlike the Snagret from Pikmin 2. I still believe it's more horrifying and challenging than it is in Pikmin 1, due to it being mandatory to defeat and its brand new projectile. Therefore I place it at number 6, missing out on the top 5. It's a spider with a gun again! Well, isn't that fun? The man at legs is back and just as deadly as before. I'm honestly happy he returned. Who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't want to experience a biomechanical spider with a gun firing bullets at high speeds while you dodge by circling around the dude? What's that last part again? Circling around the dude? That's right. Due to how the Pikmin can ride on Ochi, and how the vases and walls are destroyable by the man at legs, hiding becomes irrelevant. Now you're forced to ride the dog and dodge the bullets like you're in an action movie, and I welcome that change. It makes it seem more action-packed, intense, and engaging than ever before. And in Kevin for a King, instead of part of it being filled with water, the entire arena is submerged, except for the island in the center, making it more chaotic. And whenever the man at legs shakes off your Pikmin, or whenever you whistle your Pikmin back to you, you have a risk of your Pikmin drowning. The only flaw I have with this battle is it's easier to throw purple Pikmin onto it, making it a bit easier to defeat. Other than that, I still love this Mad Lad machine gun spider, and I always have fun having a showdown against it. Now this is a showdown against the Bulblax King. From now on, these bosses have zero flaws to point out because they're that good. The first of these bosses is the Sovereign Bulblax. This is the definition of a boss battle. It's challenging, fun, engaging, everything I'd want in a boss battle. It's the Emperor Bulblax, but 12 times as good. They brought back the Super Jump from Pikmin 1, one of its best and most intimidating attacks. The said Super Jump attack can now make rocks fall from the ceiling, which is actually pretty cool. I also like how the Sovereign Bulblax is consistent on difficulty. Unlike the Emperor Bulblax, which can be easy if you know what you're doing, The Sovereign Bulblax is consistently hard. Rushing it is futile, unlike the Emperor Bulblax. The Emperor Bulblax can be stunned, this guy can't. I feel like the best Sovereign Bulblax battle is the one in Cavern for a King, as it perfectly encompasses the water sand gimmick. This guy is an actual threat in this type of arena, unlike the Masterhop, especially with his variety of attacks and the falling boulders. So basically, I really love the Sovereign Bulblax. It feels like an actual boss, its attacks are pretty cool, it's challenging, it's fun, there's a lot of good stuff about it. Although not as good as the one from Pikmin 1, I still really love it, and it's very close. But the top 3 are much, much better, so I'm gonna put it at number 4.
Oh my goodness, that disco ball looks cool. I want to throw a Pikmin at it.
Get ready to get funky, everyone, because at number 3 is the disco boy himself, the groovy Longlegs. What's not to love about this hype-fest spectacle of a boss? It moves and grooves every time it stomps. Its spray is also well executed in the fight because it can stomp on your Pikmin and you can't do anything about it. The spray even makes the little Pikmin dance around as if they fell into the rhythm, and that's kind of a cool detail. I also like how it has 3 different phases instead of just one, with them having slower or faster paces and tempos. Each of the phases' songs make you feel like you're in a rave, which is what they were intending this to be like. Every single detail about this boss is perfect. Perfect, I say. This boss is so fun to fight, it's not even funny. Every time I come to the below grade discotheque, I am excited to fight this guy. I love the groovy Longlegs so much. Alright boys, this is it. We are so close to curing Ochi and rescuing Louie. You see that thing? The thing behind us? That's the guy we're gonna have to take down in order for this to succeed. Okay, you ready for this? Okay, let's go. Alright Louie, time to pack it up. No more committing war crimes for you.
Suck my dick.
At number 2 is the Ancient Zarhound. Cavern for a King is the toughest cave in Pikmin 4. And what does the final sub-level give you? An epic fight against an elemental demon dog with rock music playing. That's awesome. Each and every phase has unique attacks. The first phase is its basic phase. It has the Ancient Zarhound jump and make stalactites fall from the ceiling. It will then charge at you, so you will have to get it to ram into one of the stalactites to stun it. The second phase is its ice phase, where it will summon a set amount of snowballs and try to freeze you with its ice breath. The third phase is challenging, as it chokes out some balls of electricity. Said balls will have 4 rotating rows of lightning you have to jump over. You can destroy them with either yellow or glow Pikmin. It will also charge at you, and also do its, I don't know what attack it is. The fourth phase is its fire phase, where it spews out fireballs and red hairy balls. It can also create fiery shockwaves whenever it stomps with its feet. Take that as an advantage. The final phase is its hardest one, the gloom phase. It can now fly around, spewing gloom puddles and breathing rows of gloom. At half health, it can make Pikmin panic with its mighty howl. Holy crap, that was a lot to explain. Each and every phase feels unique and fun for different reasons. Some are creative and some are challenging. It reminds me of the Titan's Weevil, where there are both elemental final bosses that have phases and are controlled by Louie. This is an intense, fun, and overall amazing battle. But what is it with all these final bosses being runner-ups? I will give you the answer. It's because of this guy! He is the bread, and he is the bug. I love the giant bread bug. I'm happy he returned. He's still the big bread he once was in Pikmin 2. Perfect being. No competition. And that, my friends, was my ranking of each and every boss in Pikmin 4. Unfortunately, this is all of the mainline Pikmin games. So these rankings are going to end until Pikmin 5 releases. What do you think? Respect opinions. This isn't Twitter. Anyways, one last thing I gotta tell ya. See